come back from the kitchen, it will be ready by 9:30. So just get ready and join us. The papers are here. The Daily Guide starts this morning and says, comes with a smiling photograph of Nanado and President Mahama. And the story says, reject JM Twaso, says Nana. Also on the front page, a sad one there, Eva Loko is dead. They reported a passing on of the PPP candidate for the Clote College constituency, a former running mate of the PPP presidential nominee. And then 2 killed at petrol station and dropped Gabi, CPP tells Ivor. That's the Daily Graphic. Daily Statesman, we're coming with solutions. Akufo-Addo assures as NPP launches change agenda for jobs on Sunday. The Finder says Bank of Ghana faces probe over 2 million cedi gold watches. A smiling photograph of Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isahaku, the governor, is on the front page of that. And then the Today newspaper says Mr. True leader, Savluku chief, as he speaks to nation tomorrow. He said that he's cancelled that because of the death of his former running mate and candidate for the Clote College constituency. The General Telegraph says court adjourns hearing of PPP suit against filing fees for presidential candidates, and 1,800 illegal guns now registered with the police following amnesty granted unlicensed weapon owners. And the BNFT says WAPCO to resume gas supply, whilst 162 million VRA debt lingers. We also talk about the Daily Graphic that says IMANI scores NDC 52.9% as far as the 2012 manifesto is concerned. And the Ghanaian Times talks about gunshots at EC's office. These are the newspapers this morning. My guest to do the talking to my extreme left is the National Communications Director of the Convention People's Party, Kadri Abdul Rauf Sifu. Kadri, good morning.
Hi.
And I hope you're doing great.
I'm doing very well.
And thanks so much for coming.
I'm happy to be here.
Great. And then to my left is a Member of Parliament for the Dom Kwabenya constituency of the NPP, Adjosa. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing good too.
I'm very well by His grace.
Great.
I thought you were going to start with the ladies first.
All right. Pardon me.
No, that's okay.
That's okay. Pardon me. Next time I'll do that. I'm grateful. And thanks so much for joining us. And then the aspiring NDC candidate for the Cape Coast North constituency and a member of the NDC's communication team, Kobe Champa. Good morning too. Good morning. And I hope you're great. I'm doing very well. I'm grateful. Well, a quick one on that. Kadri, yesterday we heard of the death of the PPP candidate for Clote College constituency. That's some 30 seconds on that before we move on.
Well, when the Convention People's Party heard the news of the passing of Madame Eva Loko, in fact, we felt greatly shocked by the news. For some of us who know her at the personal level, at the moment I'm on the project with her, it is undoubtedly going to be a great loss to her family, to the PPP, and to the nation at large. Because Madame Loko is a kind of woman who I may not be able to find the right words to describe. She's very assertive. She understands the issues. And truly, I think that's going to be a great loss. So what the Convention People's Party, keep on saying since last night is that may God and may her accept her soul. And then we also ask the family we ask God to, lighten the heart of the family members of Madame Eva Loko, the Progressive, People's Party, and then all those who are, related to her, either directly or indirectly. It is really a great loss to the nation. And then we actually take the news with a bleeding heart.
Okay, I'm grateful, Kadri. For you, this is another woman politician who is born. For women, it's a great loss, particularly when you're now striving hard to get at par with men. It's indeed a huge loss for the MPP, I guess.
I think very much so. I want to say good morning to your lovely viewers, especially the good people of Domekwanya. Yes, our heart pours out for the family of Mrs. Loko. Obviously, her name will never be erased from the history books of this country as one of the women who have fought and actually got into the highest level that one can think of a woman holding a position, which is being a running mate to Dr. Papa Kwesi Nkrumah in the 2012 elections. I believe that as women all over, whether politician or not, it's a great loss to women, because we need more of such women, and we thought that looking up to such women as role models for our young girls and all that, now we're losing them. We definitely need older women there where young girls could look up to, and they could also groom young women. Obviously, it's a great loss, not to the party PPP alone, and not to CPP alone, or to NPP or any political party, but to Ghana as a country. We have lost a great daughter of ours. We pray that the good Lord keeps her well in his bosom.
I'm grateful. Okay, so the NDC is also worried at the news, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. I mean, a death is not something that we easily deal with, and for us in the NDC, we consider this as a great loss. I mean, if you look at Eva Loco, I mean, with all her dealings, you would understand that she was somebody who was basically, I'll call it a project that was in work, and for me personally, I developed a relationship with her when I went to GIFEC as administrator, because she was seeking to empower young girls in the field of ICT, and therefore we had a lot of discussions as to how best GIFEC could be of help to them. Therefore, we find these laws as something that will haunt us for a while, but at the end of the day, we think it's the good Lord who knows why he takes away from us at any material time. Therefore, we can only place our faith in the Lord and have that kind of understanding.
I'm grateful for your time. Now, let's start with the Daily Graphic this morning. And the story says IMANI has scored the Muhammad administration 52.9% for its overall performance since it took power in 2012, as far as the manifesto is concerned. Now, the think tank says that the party was able to achieve a little over 540 promises contained in its manifesto. It gave the party max good ones in education, where the party scored 69.4%, and also other areas. Under economy, though, says the marks were quite low. Let's start with this one. Kobe, let me start with you, because you are with the party now. 52.9% overall performance. The party has said they had targeted or were looking or had assessed themselves and thought they had done at least 80% of its policies.
Well, in the first place, I do not even understand the basis for this thing by IMANI.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the realm of things, I mean, what is it going to do with the other parties that never had the opportunity to implement their manifesto? How is it going to rate them? You understand? So me, I don't see the basis for it. But I mean, if you even look at what the party has accomplished, close to 80% is what is really the truth. Because if you look at our manifesto, which I'm carrying, everything that we said we have done, we've put what we have achieved and our next commitments. And if you read through this whole book, it should not come to close to 52.9 that they are predicting. It should be close to 80%. Because if I'm to go through this here, which I cannot possibly do, I can see that we did a lot more than we were supposed to do. So for me, IMANI can say whatever I want. The party has a way of judging how it is performing, and for me, that is what is important. This is an election year. We need to tell the people what we have accomplished and what we want to do. And for me, that is what is important. It's not what IMANI says.
And the think tank scored higher marks for President Mahama on education, 69.4%. Perhaps you would say that that's a good rating.
Well, I don't go by what they are doing, because I don't have a basic understanding of what it is for. Because I have said, what happens to the other political parties that have not had the opportunity of implementing the manifesto? How are they going to rate them? on what basis are they going to do those calculations? Because they've not had the opportunity of implementing their manifesto, and therefore, if you do those in an election year, I don't see the need for it.
Okay.
I don't see the need for it. Because when you take the other parties, what are you going to say about them? What are you going to say? It should be done in a position where we can say, look, we are looking at what each party has accomplished. But in this case,
manifesto.
Yeah, exactly. But in this case, it's only NDC that has run the government, and therefore, if you analyze it and see that's 52%, that is your opinion. For us in the NDC, we think we've done close to 80%.
I'm grateful. Ralph, let me come to you. 52% plus for the NDC. That's according to IMANI. The party is saying that, well, they had done, according to their own assessment, it's about 80% of what they promised in 2012.
Well, this is going to be my attitude to this whole issue. For instance, when it comes to the issue of what is true and what is factual, there's always three sides to it. Your side, my side, and the actual side. Now, IMANI Ghana has given their side to, the performance of the NDC in relation to the education, sector. And now NDC, as a party, has also given their own side, thinking that they have done more than what, the policy think tank has said. However, we in opposition and also the masses of the people of this country would also have a completely, different attitude altogether. So, for example, education is very, very key and critical to unlocking, the opportunities of our country. And for us in the CPP, we have long argued that education serves the multiple purpose of, aiding individuals to better appreciate society and nature. And also, we have argued that education should ideally position individuals to be given the necessary skills which is needed to enable them to live decent lives and contribute, their quota to national development meaningfully. Now, you would find that when you pick education index of the country, you want to know the number of people who can read and write. You want to know the number of people, who have been given skills that can enable them to end decent lives. You will find that there is something fundamentally, wrong. The convention people's
IMANI says access has improved.
Well, that is IMANI's view. Access has improved. But you see, the CPP has always argued that it is not just even a question of access, but it's also a question of content. So, for example, so many people go to school and come out. We are told that on a yearly basis, about 250,000 people are being churned into the system. With these people with no job to do, this is problematic. So, we think that ideally, education should give people the skills, so that upon completion of school, you can, do something meaningful for yourself and then also contribute to the development of the country. And on that plank, we do not think that the NDC has done much as a political party. We think that it is just an argument on duration, cost, and then also access. But we think that no, the content is very, very important. So, for example, studies have concluded that if you are able to give people, a type of education which is, loaded in terms of content, people should be able to unlock, all their potentials in life. So, for example, in Ghana here, notwithstanding the argument that has always been thrown that education access has improved, but the basic problems of the country still remain the same. So, if I were to look at it from the dialectical perspective, you would find that there's been a phenomenal increase in the number of even professorship and PhD ranking in the country, but the problems of the country has remained the same. Not to talk of the basic level. At the basic level, for example, if you see access has improved, I want to believe that they are referring to the basic level, access. But the question that we keep on asking is that, so for example, if so many people, because research that we did, CPP, I think 2 years ago, we realized that many of the Ghanaian, children fail to make it to a senior secondary school. As after JSS, so many people's lives are condemned and they cannot go beyond that. And that is why we have always argued that in this BC exam, it's not necessary. You understand? We want our people to be given the opportunity so they can get themselves educated at any time. Having said this, let me just make another, bring another dimension to it. Botswana,
okay, quick one.
In recent years, and in development economics are lacking words to describe the economy of Botswana today. Some say it is skyrocketing, some say it's booming, and others say it is roaring. Why? Because they shifted so much premium on technical and vocational education. And then I read an article, and the article described Botswana as a gem of African success. They pay so much attention to technical and vocational education. The legitimate question I want to ask is this: what has been happening to technical and vocational education in this country under the NDC?
IMANI says that
it is suffering.
The present conversion of polytechnics into technical universities is one of the key reasons why it's run so well in that sector.
Even that argument itself, yes, that argument, we have opposed that argument because polytechnics, are supposed to train people for certain, contributions to make towards the development of the country. And universities are also supposed to give, people the kind of, training that would also widen their horizon to be able to look at things, beyond the walls of the classroom. Now, if you change polytechnics into, degree awarding institutions, I will believe that it is not the point. Because, for example, in the case of Botswana, the first time that they actually introduced university, to run humanity courses like sociology and what have you, was in the year 2000. Since their independence in the 1960s, they've been concentrating on technical and vocational education. They have never, confused these two arguments. Now, we have said that this is how we should go, because as a people, we need to train our people in all aspects of our educational life, not just university degrees and what have you. I know in Botswana, because I've read the Botswanan experience, I noticed from that experience that the brainy chaps in Botswana, what they did was to send them to neighboring South Africa and other places to go and study, humanities, law, sociology, and what have you. Bulk of the people were being educated in technical and vocational courses. So I am putting it to the NDC, what they have done concerning technical and vocational education, because to the Convention People's Party, this is necessary and very significant for the industrial transformation of our country.
Okay. Before I go to Adwa, briefly, Mr. Kobe Champo is suggesting that IMANI has rated the NDC because it was in power and had a manifesto that had been implemented. And his argument is that how do you rate the CPP, the NPP, the PPP, the other parties that have not been in power and hadn't gotten the chance to implement their manifesto?
Yeah, on that plank, I think I would concur with Kobe, absolutely, because that you find that research, is limping. It's just one-sided.
I'm grateful.
And then they have to come out with modalities that would also test, those of us who have not been in power. We can achieve better or, something equal to what the NDC has achieved.
Raouf, the communications director of the CPP. So 52.9%. That's the rating for the NDC.
Okay, very well. I want to start by saying that 52% is even too high for us in the NPP.
The party says it has done 80%.
Yeah, the party can sit inside its own four corners of its party headquarters and decide that we've done well. I think that even 52% is a bit on the high side. That notwithstanding, I believe that it is not the think tanks that are going to vote on the day of 7 December 2016. It is the people of Ghana. So they can sit in their offices and do all the analysis and come out with such, scores and figures and all that. But I strongly believe that it is the bread and butter issues that the Ghanaians or the Ghanaian people or the Ghanaian electorate are looking at and expecting that their monies are being put in the right infrastructural development, the right places where they need help, and also whether these monies have been managed properly. And again, whether the economy is blooming, whether they can pay their school fees of their wards, whether when they go to work, their salaries are up to what they expect. These are the things that Ghanaians want to hear. So I think that the report that has come from IMANI itself is that it's deficits in its own or in itself. Because I'm asking, what is the comparative analysis?
You see a difference between the report and what is on the ground? Is that why
Very
you say
well, that is so. Because we are in a campaign season and we have been going around. We've been talking to people and they are expressing what they think this government has done and why they need change. And this is way below the figures that they're giving.
What are some of the things they've been telling you that suggest that it's not?
If you look at the IMANI report, for instance, where they're scoring, they're saying 40%, they're scoring NDC 40% when it comes to housing. and as compared to the manifesto promises that they made. Where are the houses? Where are the affordable houses?
Oh, me.
The prices they are quoting, can the ordinary... No, they are saying affordable houses. What is affordable to the ordinary Ghanaian who is standing in the street selling dog chains? Is it the thousands of Ghana cedis they are mentioning? Can they afford these houses? So I don't see why you score them 40% when it comes to housing. And again, we are in this country when the BEC results came, and for 4 years, 8 years continuously, we have been seeing a decline in the results of our wards when they write the BEC exam. Yet you're scoring them very high in education. Again, they have promised that they're going to build 200-day SHS schools. That is what they promised in their manifesto. As we speak now, they are not even starting on the figures that they've been able to construct. Some are saying 123, still in progress. Some are saying 50, some are saying 80. What is it that they have done that IMANI is scoring them this high figures? I don't see what they have done. And when we go down there and we talk to the ordinary Ghanaian, what they are telling us is that these monies that they seem to be misdirecting into other areas, it's not in their pockets.
Which monies are you talking about?
The money that belongs to the people of Ghana. When it's going through corruption and you are branding buses, yes, they see the buses. They are rating them for transport as well. They are rating them for energy. Look at the high tariffs that people are paying for electricity. In one breath, we were told that the meters were faulty. In one breath, we were told that the software that is used to manage the whole thing was problematic. Yet people are still paying this overwhelming amounts as electricity bills, and industries are continuously closing down. They cannot pay their workers. They keep the production is going down. The ordinary Ghanaian is suffering. One time I was listening to one of these radio stations, and there was somebody on the radio. He owns a small shop that he sells cement. Previously, he was paying 50 Ghana a month for electricity. Suddenly, he's paying 600 Ghana. And so he was asking, cement, I don't use electricity to sell cement, so why? In my own house, previously I was paying 800 Ghana cedis. Now I'm paying 2,000 Ghana cedis for electricity. And this is over 500 increments to from where we were to where we are now. And these are the things that Ghanaians are asking. They want a better life. You promise them a better Ghana, but they are seeing a bitter one. They are not able to afford the basic amenities that they expect government to provide. And so for me, IMANI, what is the basis for this analysis? You are doing a comparative analysis. So you should let us know your indexes and what you're using to do the comparison. Again, NPP, when Kobe said that what is the basis to assess other political parties who have not come to power. Even if that is the situation, assuming that we are giving them the benefit of the doubt. NPP has also been in government for 8 years. So if you are doing an analysis of the current NDC, you have something to compare it with. Yet there was no such comparison. 8 years of President Kufuor, we saw education, how it had improved. We saw these Metro Mass buses all over in town. Did you score us for transport? And we didn't brand them for 3 million Ghana cedis or anything. They were branded, they went through the proper procurement processes. Also in energy, we were in power for 8 years. What we did for energy, I didn't see IMANI talk about it. So for me, I don't see what he was comparing the NDC administration with. And what, for 8 years or for 4 years? I don't see the basis. So for me, what the think tank has done, which is IMANI, it's not what the ordinary Ghanaian is looking out for. What they are looking out for in this election is who can put food on their tables when they work. They want to know who is bringing the right policies that will help them when they go to their jobs to be able to earn even above the minimum income. Again, they want to know what government will come that these I don't even know the word. The electricity bills that they're paying will come down so that they see their businesses flourish. They want to see a government that will come in, that the economy is being run in such a way that you see development, you see GDP growth, all the indicators of the macro and microeconomics are also well established, so that we see growth in this country. We were in this country when the former the president, who is currently the president, former vice president. Right. Good morning, Mr. President. We have it in our Hansards in Parliament. When he was a member of Parliament, and the State of the Nation's address, President Kufuor was there. He was enumerating the infrastructural development that the NDC and the NPP had done at the time. When he was given the opportunity to comment on it on the floor of Parliament, he says every president or every government is elected to come and bring development, to come and build infrastructure. So you cannot boast of infrastructural development, and that is an act of mediocrity. We were in this country, and it is on record. So if infrastructure development is going on, and we are told that it's something that it is the reason we vote for government, for you to come and develop our roads for us. But what we in the NPP are asking, even the infrastructural development that they are boasting of right now, at what cost is it to the ordinary Ghanaian? Are these contracts being bloated? Okay. Can we do a cost-benefit analysis to be able to ascertain whether the costing of these roads are really the actual cost, or they are bloated, and for that matter, monies are going into certain quarters that ought not to go? So these are the questions. So Imani Ghana, please come again. At this one, I don't see the basis.
I'm grateful. So she raises a lot of issues about electricity. She says NDC is doing well, the cost of even the projects. And so she's even suggesting that the 52 that Imani has put in, it's not even the right thing.
Well, you see, that's why I question the basis for this kind of research. But you see, it only gives people the opportunity to talk, just like they are doing. They are just talking. We are dealing with a party that is actually doing. That's the difference between us and them. We are actually implementing something. We are implementing programs and policies. And she talks about infrastructure. Listen, in their own party, they have economists. Every economist worth his salt will tell you that the basis of every economic development and growth rests on infrastructure.
Her argument is that President Mahama had once said that.
Listen. Yes, President Mahama may have said that. But the fundamental point is, the basis of every economic development rests on infrastructure. In 2008, when President Obama was campaigning to become president, what was the basic plank of his own policy? To improve infrastructure in the United States, which he did very well. Look at Hillary Clinton. What is she also promising? Improve infrastructure. Which means if you want your economy to grow, you must have a basic infrastructure that supports those activities. I want to ask a question, two of you sitting here. If you had the opportunity of going to England, going to do your own thing, but you are going, and I ask you, what are you looking out for when you get there? What will be your answer? You want to see the trains run on time. You want to see power 24/7. You want to see water going on. You want to see tarmacs, the roads well constructed. That is what you want to see when you go abroad. That is what the NDC is doing here. We need to build the infrastructure to sustain an economic development. The last time we did such massive infrastructure, it was Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah who was in power. The last time Ghana did that, it was Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah who was in power. And today, we still have vestiges of what he did as things that we are living on.
Nkrumah constructed the N1.
Please. I tell you, you're coming.
I'm telling you, the last time we had that basic thing was when Nkrumah did. Today, we can boast of Tema as a township. It was done by Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The ports. We can talk of the motorway. We can talk of all those things. These are things that are sustaining us as a country. He built the Volta Dam. Those are the things that sustain us. So when we are engaging in the building of infrastructure, we are doing the things that enable the economy to flow. You talked about technical university and Botswana and all that stuff. Ghana is way beyond that. I need to let you know very clearly. We are way beyond that.
In terms of education?
Yes.
I disagree.
Well, you might disagree. Yeah. Botswana is a country of just about 3 million people.
And what they are able to achieve?
Listen, compare that to a country of almost 27 million people. There are distinct paradigms in what we do. The paradigms are distinct. So if we are building technical university, we are building technical university to take care of the technical and vocational education. That is the highest thing they can rise up to. If you are training people at the low level and they cannot see their way forward in terms of what they can accomplish, what do you think will happen? That is why we are converting the polytechnics to technical universities. We didn't just say universities. We said technical universities. So there's a paradigm here. We need to have a basic understanding of some of this and put it in the proper context so that when we are explaining these things, it's right. You are talking about affordable housing. I want to ask you, if in this country you can construct a house that costs only $10,000, tell me that in this country you can construct a house that only costs $10,000.
You think we cannot?
We cannot. We cannot construct a house that costs
$10,000 is about what? 40.
Exactly. You cannot construct a house that costs only $10,000. And therefore, if you say we are burdening it for a certain class of people who have the ability to afford.
So the ordinary person can't afford it. That's what you're saying.
Listen,
That's exactly my point.
Listen. The ordinary person can't afford. But we are also making it feasible. We are also making it feasible for people who rent houses to go beyond the issue of paying for 2 years advance, so that you can pay 6 months and have a place to stay. That is how you address these issues. You just don't say you are burdened for these people and therefore you need to create the enabling environment for them. That is why the Rent Control Act is very important. We need to look at it from beginning to end and make sure that the ordinary person who cannot afford a certain level of housing has the opportunity to rent houses not costing 2 years in terms of advance payment. Those are the things we need to do, and let us strike these balances carefully so we have a better understanding and place things in the proper context.
Yeah,
Ralph, quick comment.
Yeah, just a quick one. You know, when he started, he made a statement that we are just talking. I think I want to take a great exception to that.
No.
In terms of for the Convention People's Party, I understood.
You understand the context where it's coming from. All right.
But you see, in terms of the Convention People's Party, or when you are talking about the Convention People's Party, this statement, we will definitely take a great exception to it. So, for example, he himself has admitted that the first time that this kind of achievement was chalked in the education sector in this country was under Kwame Nkrumah. I represent that history. You understand? The CPP is not just talking. Come on. Let me land. I represent that history.
You are dealing with reality.
When you were talking, we gave you the opportunity to talk. So let me. I represent that history. You understand? And we have said that it is not just about saying that we have built more schools, we have increased access, and then what have you. What happens to people after they complete their university education? So, for example, the first time in this country that we heard of unemployed graduates was under the NDC in the year 2008. It has never happened in the history of the country. What does it tell you? It means that something is fundamentally wrong in this country. And apart from that, when I used the Botswanan experience, I totally and truly understood what I was trying to say.
3 million
people, it means that they have a national focus. They have a national focus. Can that be said of Ghana under the NDC? We do not have a focus as a people. And we see it as a great shame that, for example, under Kwame Nkrumah, there was a focus. We believe that the infrastructure that you're talking about. Come on.
He says it's changing lives and transforming the country. So perhaps that's our focus, to invest in people and change their lives.
Oh no, that is not. It is just
I'm asking a question. If you don't have a focus, why are you still living in this country?
Let me tell you something. So, for example, let me give you an example of country with focus. Botswana is one. Okay. They actually did analysis of their population, and they realized that for us to be able to move into a modern economy, we need to industrialize. How do we industrialize? We have to train the technical brains and then what have you. And then between 1960 and the year 2000, they achieved that. And that is why in economics, they are lacking words to describing the economy of Botswana. They have a focus. Okay. Apart from that, the last time I sat here, I was also talking about Dubai, on this one. A country which in 1990 had only one high-rising building. Today they have about 900 and they are still counting. Can that be said of this country under President John Mahama? No, there is no focus. It is just a jumble. It is just a jumble.
Because there's no focus. Why do you live in a country which has no focus?
Yes, and that is why we are seeking to overthrow the NDC.
Please.
Because they do not have focus, and you cannot build and then sustain development in a country if you do not have focus.
Okay.
For example, there's
Ralph, I'm grateful.
development.
I'm grateful. Let Adwa come in. I guess we'll run out of it. So a wrap up for you with this one. The fact that the NDC said, well, it's for what you say, it is doing all that it can to build this country, and yet what its opponents are doing is only to talk.
Thank you. I still maintain my position, which is that the scoring is it's just too high for the NDC. I think that if Kobe sits here, and I mentioned his name, so respectfully, when he's also addressing, he shouldn't say you do it two people. That is a bit disrespectful.
Right.
So he should address us by our names. We all bear names.
I'm sure Kobe has heard that.
I think that if he sits here and makes the argument that since Dr. Osagyefo's era, there hasn't been any major development in this country, I think that then he's sitting here lying through his teeth. Because Ghanaians had seen 8 years of development under the NPP. And that is the base. We discovered oil for them, and now they are using the oil revenue. If indeed we did not do anything as he said, then why are they benefiting from the oil money? At the time, we did not even have oil revenue as part of our total revenues that we had in this country. So we even expect them that having discovered oil for them, and now Ghana being an oil country, we should see more development there. Go to the eastern region where the oil was discovered. They are crying. Their chiefs, the western region. The chiefs came together, said, you are extracting all these natural resources from us, but we are not seeing the kind of development that you promised us. So he cannot sit here and say NPP did not do anything. Again, all I want to say is that the people of Ghana are discerning. The people of Ghana, the time for accounting to them has come. They are going to measure you by what you did, what resources were available to you at the time, and what you've used it for. Whether you used it to pay judgment debts, Woyome, whether you used a huge amount of money to brand buses when you could actually do it at a lesser cost, these are what they're looking for. Have you been able to put all the right things in place, which we don't see them doing? And when he talks about the conversion of the universities and technical institutions into universities, I'm happy that he's vying to be a member of parliament. When he comes in, he should go into the library and ask for the handouts on the day that the loan agreement that was the money that was going to be used for these constructions, the day it came to parliament. And he should read some of the arguments of the members of parliament from both sides. All we were saying is that we want the technical aspects of these institutions to remain, because it is for a purpose that we have these the polytechnics. It's for a purpose that we have the technical aspect. And a country cannot develop if you don't build on your technical expertise and human resource. So if you are awarding universities, just as you are awarding in the humanities in the University of Ghana or UCC or whatever, these students definitely will come out with a degree and still not be able to apply any technical know-how to the benefit of this country. So just changing them is not what matters. What are the conditions of teachers right now? What are the conditions of nurses right now? On your program like a month ago or 3 weeks ago, we were told that the president said he would rather lose the elections rather than restore the allowances. We are being told today that there was a task force that has been established, and for that matter, the report that came out of that committee is saying that these allowances should be restored. Is it a political gimmick? Because we all know the strings that are attached to this IMF bailout.
I see.
And so we know that
you think the president changed his mind and it's not good?
I think that Ghanaians are smart.
Boutros Ghali has once said that it's only a stupid man who doesn't change his mind. So the president
I think that he's taking Ghanaians for a fool.
Okay.
Because he has said once that Ghanaians have short memories. So for him, he's thinking that what he has said earlier on, we have forgotten. And he has come back to say something else. These nurses and teachers and all that, they are all discerning. And they know what is they know what is up. Okay. So we are entreating them that on 7th of December, they should vote this government out. Bring in a more competent government, which is the Nana Addo Dankwa-led government, Dr. Bawumia-led government, where these monies will not be put into their pockets. Monies will be put to the right cause.
Any evidence of anybody putting money in their pocket?
All right.
Can you provide a scintilla of evidence?
Are you suggesting that the president says you put money in people's pocket, or you think that some money is?
Do you have any scintilla of evidence?
I think that we are in this country, and we have heard of all these monies that ordinarily shouldn't go where it's gone.
Where has the money gone?
The Smarties is an example.
Okay.
And when someone has committed a criminal offense, which is corruption, it is in Act 29, the Criminal Act of this country, that when somebody commits a crime, it is not for the president to say restore the money. It is for him to stand prosecution. So you lead by example. Just as President Kufuor did.
So that is the basis for you saying money.
Okay.
All right. Corruption, please.
No,
please.
please.
And the overfloating of contracts. You see, in Parliament, we
can argue on the basis of what you are saying. But let me tell you, there's never a time in this country. There's never a time in this country where a whole finance minister signed an agreement when he never even read it, because the whole agreement was in German.
Okay, all right.
We followed IFC loans to saloons in this country.
Okay.
It all happened under your watch.
Kobe, all right.
We followed all those things.
If we go that tangent, I'm sure we won't get a chance.
Exactly, but we need to remind them. We need to, there are records. We need to remind them.
Can we move on? I have
we need to remind them. There are your records.
To wrap up.
Those are your records.
I'm grateful. Ralph, let me start this one with you. The Bank of Ghana issue is not new. What is new is that there are calls for
a typical example.
No.
A typical
what has that got to do with the government?
It's a central bank.
Yes, but what has the central bank got to do with the
government?
No, please. What has the central bank got to do? You don't even know the Central Bank Act.
Hold on.
You don't even know the Central Bank Act.
Hold on. So, Ralph, I'm starting.
You don't even know it.
Kobe, can you allow Ralph to go? It's not new. The new thing is that there are calls for a probe. Now, the bank says this is a convention. The calls for a probe, how do we situate it? Since the bank says this is a convention.
Yes,
briefly, we don't have a lot of time.
I think that I have been following this matter since it broke out.
Right.
And sometimes I'm tended to think that people are, blowing it out of context. Look, the issue is this. What is currently happening at the Bank of Ghana has nothing absolutely to do with the governor of Bank of Ghana. He's just the figurehead of the institution. And we have been told that this practice has been going on since the since 1970s up to now. So now, for example, if you are working in Ghana today, you have a condition of service. So what has your condition of service said? So if, for example, if it was instituted at the worst period in the economic life of the country, that was in the 1970s, and then there was nothing wrong with it, what do we say of now? Look, for example, I strongly believe that this is how we should look at the issue. The processes. And I listened to you this morning, and I agree with you absolutely. The processes, they did follow procurement, rules and regulations. So, for example, if it didn't, then clearly we think that something is amiss fundamentally. But if it did, I don't think that we can make so much, noise out of this. And I also want to say that people are just talking. Those people who are talking saying it's too much, it's too much, it's too much. In this country that we live, there has been instances where people take money that has not been given to them. In the case of these people, it is part of their condition of service that after you render service for about 30 years, this is what you are entitled to, which is legitimate, which is constitutional. You understand? And it is in tandem with their condition of service. There is nothing illegal about this. Okay. There is nothing untoward about this.
Okay, Ralph, I'll pause you there. Adwa, come in because that is the argument. Probe or not to probe.
Thank you very much. And I think that obviously there ought to be probing. Okay. And we in the NPP think that we ought to probe what happened when $504,000 is just being diverted to buy watches for as end of service benefits.
We were told that it was captured in the budget, the 2016 budget. So it's not a diversion.
Hold on. My expertise is procurement. I hold a master's degree in procurement law.
Okay.
So let me take you through. And for Kobe, for your information, the Bank of Ghana Act that you claim I don't know about has actually been revised. And when he comes to Parliament, he will know that is being revised.
Okay, so
probably he is talking about the old.
You have assured him that
it will come
to Parliament.
Well, whether it's been revised, I still don't know. My argument is because you are linking Bank of Ghana to government. That is the basic argument I'm raising.
I thought you were
linking
let me just educate
Bank of
you.
Ghana to government, and I'm telling you that is not so.
From where he
I thought you
sits,
were going to be happy because she's just assured you that you'll be in Parliament.
It's not a question of how being Parliament. I want to stick to the point.
Okay, all right.
I want to stick to the point. You don't link government to the Bank of Ghana.
When he comes, he will
have a
know a
tendency
lot of
of being
things. Where
these-
he's sitting, he can't see a lot of things. So I can pardon him on that one.
Okay.
Can't see a lot
What
of
I am
things.
saying that 500 and that is $500,000 going for the purchase of Swiss watches.
Right.
What I want to say is that they went sole sourcing.
That's a key thing.
And under the Public Procurement Act, sole sourcing is an exception to a rule. It is a method of procurement, but there are certain conditions which ought to be satisfied before you can even apply the method called sole sourcing. If you look at section 42 in the Act, it talks about these processes and the conditions. Some of them are in the event of an emergency, where there is an urgent need to procure something, and then the procurement process is such a lengthy process that you need to cut it and do a selection, cut it down and select one person. It is allowed. Where there's an intellectual property right issue, for instance, maybe only you manufacture this kind of water, and it is this kind of water that you want. There's no way, even if you invite tenders, there will be other possible suppliers who supply the same things. And also in the case of, there are two things, emergency and urgency.
Right.
And all these conditions, I don't see how it applies here. And if you look at the Auditor General's report, I serve on the Public Accounts Committee. The reports throughout the years, it has indicated that most of these institutions, government institutions, which within the scope and ambit of the Public Procurement Act, they come under the law, and so they should apply it. Consistently, even when it is sole sourcing, they do the authorization from the PPA after the fact, which is that they do it before they go for approval. What I want to ask is that, was the approval that they ought to sort under the law from PPA to use Public Procurement Act, at what point was it made? Again,
before or after? That's
before
what you're
or after.
Okay.
Again, what I want to ask is that, it's a watch. It's a watch so peculiar and specific that it has intellectual property rights issues that only one supplier can supply that kind of watch. So you do competitive tendering so that you invite a lot of tenderers to get value for money. You get a variety of prices and quality, so you can do the assessment and do a technical one and do a financial one and say, oh, this is what we're putting our money to, and so we have a competitive price advantage.
So with these
when you do sole sourcing, you cut all these things, and I don't see the intellectual property rights or the urgency or the emergency that comes with buying a Swiss watch.
So that's why the probe.
I am not questioning the end of service, but if they're entitled to an end of service benefit, so be it. Every worker in the public institution ends at the end of the day, gets an end of service benefit. And again, I want to question, who were the members of this board that have worked, that are now coming out, that they need these things? We ought to know.
No, not for the board. It is for staff, not the board.
Whatever, whether it's the board or the staff, whoever is who were receiving these watches. That's a big question mark there. We know the people who were in there. So what we are saying is that, my brother, what we are saying is that, what we are saying is that,
I'll give you another time.
What we in the NPP, we are saying is that this government is a government that has misplaced priorities. We need money to do other things.
This is an agreement between the board and staff.
My brother, this is the central bank we are talking about. If it is a private bank, like GT Bank where I save, or UT Bank or wherever, no, would it be an issue in Ghana? This is a central bank. It is a body that is established by law under this country's law.
Let me put that question.
And it is not any man's private entity
She-
that you go
she
there
says-
and you use money anyhow, and
Okay.
Ghanaians cannot question it.
Okay.
I beg to differ
Right.
that we ought not question because it's an end of service.
Okay,
benefit.
she says we should probe the procurement processes, and again, she's suggesting that the buck stops at the doors of President Muhammad because it's a state bank. That's what she's saying.
I mean, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. But we all know the Bank of Ghana is an independent body. Now, let's get to the basics of all of these issues. One, it was a board decision.
Right, that's been
The governing
settled.
authority of any establishment is the board.
Who appoints the members of the board?
It doesn't really matter.
We'll come to that.
Who appoints the
doesn't
members of the
really-
board?
No,
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not coming to
It
go.
doesn't
We'll
really
come to that.
matter.
Is it not
Kobe,
the
please
president who
go.
appoints
It doesn't
Kobe,
really
please-
matter.
please
It's
go.
a
We'll
board
come to that.
decision. The board decided that to award people who had served 30 years of their lives with the bank,
They should bow
let's
their
get
heads
them
down in
watched.
shame.
2,
2 months to election. This is what you're
they
using
did
money to
sole sourcing, and the sole sourcing was from the exact company that they were buying from. They did the sole sourcing from the exact company that was producing the watches that they were buying from.
So you're suggesting
what
there is
point
no
is that?
middleman or woman
That's why they cut out the middlemen and went straight to the source.
to the company?
Exactly, to the company.
But that is not a justification to use sole
Madam,
sourcing.
madam,
That is not justification.
madam, that is it. You went straight to the source of the company, so there is no need for even a middleman. Now,
Where in the law does it talk about middlemen?
You think
There's
it is
nothing.
not worth it to satisfy or to
Misplaced
award people
priority.
who have spent 30 years of their lives
I think
working for you?
Adwa and Rauf all agree that they agree to that.
Yes. So what is
The
the
key
issue
phrase
here?
about the procurement process.
Yes, but the procurement process was followed to the letter. So what is the issue here? What is the issue?
When did it start and
It
when
is-
did it
let me
end?
tell you why it's an issue. It is an issue because we are in an election
Should
year.
President Muhammad step into this?
Why should the president step into
Of
this?
course he
For
should.
what?
We're told that the backstopper.
Yeah, but what is the relationship between the bank and the president?
Who
as far as
appoints
this
the
is
board
concerned?
members?
So if you appoint board members, you should micromanage them. You don't have the opportunity to let them do what they think is right for the company. Who said so? That if you appoint a board of people, you should always micromanage them and take decisions for them. Is that what we expect the president to do? That is why he has the opportunity to regulate some of these things. By appointing people to do those things.
Honestly, I don't see your argument.
I'll go to Ralph, but let me ask you: should Ghana as a country begin to look at some of these things, state institutions, the kind of conditions that we give to people, board members, and even members of parliament, what they take at the end of every 4 years? Should we begin to take a holistic look at all these?
You see, I don't worry about those things. I'm going to stick to this case. Because when you go into those things, you realize that you are dealing with oranges and bananas. We need to deal with this issue. Procurement processes were followed. It was a board decision. The board is the governing body of the whole bank. They took a decision to go into this direction. And they did what is right in terms of the procurement law. They are awarding people who have worked for 30 years in the bank. What is the big deal about this?
What about if people think that it is too much?
If people think, but the
gold.
issue is, if you think and what we have to do are
Okay.
two separate things.
Right.
2 million Ghanaians.
But if people are concerned, should we look
If you
at it?
think and what
If we are concerned, should we look
you can have your concerns, but the fundamental argument is the decisions that were taken were from the board. They went through the procurement process and purchased those things. So what is the big issue about this? What is the big issue? And it's all because we are in an election year. So any issue must be mirrored in a way to make government look bad. Come on. Let's get some of these things right.
Okay, Ralph, let me bring you in.
Let me ask a question. And at least I'm happy that Adwa elaborately gave the conditions under which sole sourcing could be done. I want to ask Kobe, which of these conditions did the Bank of Ghana use? Whether they actually sole sold with the same supplier company or not, which of the conditions under which they could go and then use sole sourcing? Because there are conditions under which you apply. It is supposed to be, at least the basic understanding that we all have about procurement is that first of all, it should be through competitive bidding. And the other time, tendering, I was listening to the PRO of the Bank of Ghana, and the argument that he gave was not persuasive. To be very honest with you, that in 2012 or so, they asked, for competitive tendering, and then the guy who won it was not able to deliver, and for that matter, they went to do sole sourcing. That is not strong argument. So that is where some of us have problem. But apart from that, if the condition of service says so, we do not have bed. We find that to be problematic because there are laws. And I also want to even find out from Kobe or Adjoa that under the law, can you go and do sole sourcing with the same supply company? I want to know under the law.
Yeah, why can't you?
Well, if it can
Kobe
be,
has just told us that it was done, so we'll have to find out.
yeah, we need to check the
law
position of
allows
the
it.
law on it. Because I thought that well, we would have to check the position of the law on it. But I just think that there's something, fundamental, because ideally it should have been done through competitive.
So we all agree that we need to look at
If-
that. Instead, Kobe says no. I mean, it's a normal thing. It's a convention, and so Adjoa, please come in.
It is not the convention aspects
That
it
you're
is
worried
done-
about.
There is a law that is regulating that activity, and that is the Public Procurement Act. And even his government, they came in to revise the law before we went on recess. So there's been a few revisions in there to the Public Procurement Act, which the NPP brought to check corruption, to check public financial management system of this country. My brother, if you know that at the end of this bank has been in existence even before I was born, and you know that at the end of the day, there would be an end of service benefits anyway to give to a staff. You know. The law entreats you to add it to your procurement plan for the year. So it should be in your plan. Even the dates you'll be doing the procurements and all that. Please,
I don't know what it means, but we are told that.
Please, don't wait till I educate you, then you come
No,
It's
you can't
captured
educate.
in the budget.
You cannot
That's all I know.
Wait. So if
cannot
you have it
educate
in
me,
your plan,
because you have a fundamental
You have it in your
misunderstanding
plan.
of the whole issue.
Kobe,
You are playing
please,
politics with it. That's
you
all.
have it in your
Please,
All you
plan.
are doing here is playing politics.
You have it in your plan. You are going to do it anyway. And you know that if you have to go competitive tendering, you need time. All this time, what were they sitting there looking for?
Okay.
What were they sitting there? So that
You are saying all of these things based on your lack of understanding.
You cannot come
You are
under
saying all of
the
these
text
things
of
based on your lack of
urgency that
understanding,
you
Adjoa.
have. It was urgent. Or it was an
You are
emergency
saying all of this
situation.
is
Okay,
based
Or
on
that
your
you
lack
have
of
an intellectual
understanding. You haven't
property
even
right.
read the
I
story.
am just trying to tell you
You are
that
just saying
if you
anything.
knew
Kobe.
it, if you
Come
knew
on.
it, if you knew it,
You should have
that
planned for it.
You will plan
And
for
has
it and
begun
do
the
the
process.
right
Who said
thing.
the bank didn't plan for
You,
it?
you do the right thing. You don't wait and go sourcing and cause
With the
all these
excuse that
with the
time.
excuse that
Okay,
that is
Exactly.
Adjoa's
Because
argument.
they had
Okay.
You don't
all
know
the
whether the
time
bank planned
in this
for it
world.
or not. You don't
They
even
have
know.
all the time that they needed to be able
You're
to
just
go
talking.
through competitive tendering. So I don't see why. And they haven't satisfied any of
playing
the
politics.
conditions
Pure
under the law
politics.
for
Okay.
them to go
I'm
sole sourcing. So
grateful.
sole sourcing
Okay.
is an exception to the rule, and it is not the rule itself.
Okay.
So it is meant for a
Talking
particular
about sole
purpose.
sourcing. Was it in the
I'm
bank's
grateful.
plans? Yes, the bank planned
I
for
am
it.
grateful, gentlemen and lady. Before I drop off, Raouf, let me deal with your issue because your party activists
So we should probe.
are calling. Yes, Adjoa says we should probe.
You probe and nothing will come out.
It
will be a waste of everybody's time.
Let's wrap up on this one. I want us to also quickly deal with the NPP manifesto on Sunday. But Raouf, your party says you should drop your running mate, Dr. Nketia, and why?
Oh, those people who are making that call are just desperate attention seekers.
They're not members of your party.
They are not principled. They are just, running the agenda of other people. But it won't work because the argument that they are making is not strong. It is not persuasive. They are
That
just
he
being
is not a
pushed
member
because-
of your party. He
No,
holds
that is not the argument. And then on this plank, I want to blame the media because the media have taken it so widely that the man said that he's still a card-bearing member of the MPP. He never said that, and I've challenged so many media houses to go and listen to the tape. He never said that. So that in itself is a downright falsity. Now, those young men in our party who are these are just they just want to be national heroes. But the path to heroism is not that easy. So I think that this matter cannot even constitute grounds for discussion. So just
Okay,
dismiss
I'm
it.
grateful.
And you have a focus. With
yes.
these problems, you have
Oh, yeah, there is a focus.
focus.
There is a focus.
With these problems that you are
Okay.
dealing with, you have a focus.
There is a zero
Yeah,
focus.
that's my only
Okay.
reaction. With these problems that he's dealing with, he has a focus.
I don't want
Yeah,
Adjoa
there
to react to this one, but the NPP on Sunday will launch its manifesto. A quick one on that, then we can wrap up.
You're very well, thank you. Yes, on Sunday, God willing, the NPP, we believe the battle is still the Lord's, and we very much believe that on Sunday, when the flag bearer and his running mates and leading members of our party come out there to enumerate what we want to do for the people of Ghana, which is all encompassed in our manifesto. on the various sectors. They'll talk about health, they'll talk about education, they'll talk about agriculture, all the sectors. They would see the basis for re-electing us again into power come 2017. And we would make it so elaborate, we will make it so interpretive to the ordinary Ghanaian that they would basically understand where we're coming from. And as a party that has been in power for 8 years, they have known all the social interventions that we brought into this country, which NDC now claims to be its claims to be its baby. We talk about LEAP. It was introduced by President Kufuor, National Health Insurance. We talk about these metro masses that they were trying to copy and then they copied wrongly. All these things are things that we have put in place when we came in 8 years. So they have tested the NDC. They have tested MPP, both for 8 years. The difference is crystal clear. So on Sunday, God willing, I want to entreat all the people in Domikwa that we all would assemble at the campaign office in St. John's, and there will be buses to transfer them, and we'll all go there and listen to the next leader of this great country, Nana Addo Dankwa.
Kobe, how attended will you be on Sunday to the launch of the MPPs?
I will not even listen. It's a waste of my time. Listen, let me tell you why I will not listen. Let me tell you why I will not listen.
Why?
The snippets of information that I'm gleaning from it shows me that they don't even have an understanding of some of the things they are talking about. Let me give you one example. They are saying, they are saying they will give 1 million. They are giving 1 million to every constituency. They will give $1 million to every constituency. Every constituency in this country is captured under
$1 million.
So why would you give 1 million to the constituency and not to the district?
I see. Right.
Why would you give 1 million to the district and not to the? Why would you give it to the constituency and not to the district?
But you also said
it's a confused
one
state
student,
of mind,
one laptop.
and it is all because they want to
Where did
talk
you get
to the
one student,
constituency.
one laptop?
They want to talk to the constituency so that the constituency votes. That's all they are doing.
Okay.
They are not doing anything in terms of anything. There's nothing new. Yesterday, APC brings its manifesto. They claim they stole it from them. Everything anybody brings, they stole it from them. What kind of society is this?
Right.
Is that the CPP's manifesto?
Okay.
All right.
I want the cameras to capture
it. The camera is capturing.
That is the blueprint for
Be careful they don't tell you stole from them.
Show it to the camera.
This is
Ralph,
the blueprint.
be careful they don't tell you stole from them.
Development.
But you're noted for that.
Indeed.
No, please.
Ivor Communal
Heads talking about stealing from somebody.
Okay.
You know, which is going to change the lives of the people
Ghana.
of Ghana.
Rauf, I'm
so
grateful.
very soon,
I'm grateful.
We'll be making copies available
I am
to
so
Ghanaians.
grateful. Rauf Abdul
I'm sure on Monday you'll be here and you know the good policies that we have for Ghanaians.
Okay,
There's
right.
nothing that is going to come out that hasn't been.
And there will be change. And change is coming.
That will come out from that.
When you are losing an election, this is the reaction.
Please, when you are losing an election.
Is a member of parliament for the Dominican constituency. The aspiring NDC candidate
You
for
can't even
the Cape
billboards.
Coast North constituency is
Kobe.
Kobe Champa and Kadri Abdul Rauf
Billboards
is the
don't vote.
communications
Billboards
director
don't vote.
of the
Billboards
CPP.
send a
I'm
message.
grateful for your time this
send a
Friday
message.
morning
We'll see you on
and
the
wish
day of
you a
voting.
great
We'll see.
weekend.